welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Mentor Method podcast with me, your host, Krystal Kali, also known by my artist name, the most famous woman in the world. So today I want to talk to you guys straight from my heart because I've been thinking about this topic all day, and I decided to break away from my normal format for this podcast so far, which has been to be talking about financial health and financial education. And today I just wanted to give it to you raw, give it to you real, and give you some motivation. Because even though some people say that motivation isn't very important and motivation only lasts so long, and yes, I do believe that's true, but I also know that when you prime your brain, especially, and I would say only when you prime your brain on a daily basis, I'm talking 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with information and content that helps keep you motivated over years, it's only going to help you. What you consume, you become. So let's get into it today. Today, I want to talk about how not only just to survive and struggle through hard times, but how to thrive and dominate whatever life circumstance you are going through. And this is close to my heart today because I'm going through it right now. But one thing that I can say, I know for a fact, I've turned over a new leaf within myself over the last few years, and especially over the last few months. And that new leaf has been learning how to control my own mind and therefore control my own behavior in times that are not, see, it's easy to be happy and upbeat and motivated in good times. It's easy to stay positive and optimistic when you're making amazing income and you have everything's going great and your personal life is great and your health is great and those times. And I hope that we all experience those great times as much as possible in this life. But when real life shit hits you, so I'm talking about divorce, death, cancer, eviction, losing your job, having to go through court cases, maybe going to jail, maybe going to prison, maybe getting injured. When real life shit hits you, all of those maybe more flimsy tools that you thought you had during the easy times, they're not going to hold up. So this is where we talk about how to be the queen or king of hell. And if you want to know, who am I to be talking about how to be the queen of hell? Who is this crazy woman who calls herself the most famous woman in the world? What kind of person would even have the audacity to name themselves that, right? By the way, if you want to listen to my music, you can search Spotify or wherever you get your music. Just search the most famous woman in the world and you will see some of my stuff. I've had a career in music for over 20 years now at this point. All right. Okay. So let's back up. How would I know how to be the queen of hell? And what does that even mean? So what I mean by being the queen and king of hell, and by the way, I had this written in Sharpie up on one of my walls for months, which was just, I am the queen of hell. What this means is that when hard times are hitting you, when you are buried, when you have what seems like just a flood of shit coming your way. When you have bills you can't pay and court cases that you have to face, multiple lawsuits, people trying to ruin your life, feeling like you don't have anybody in your corner, feeling alone, feeling isolated, not feeling like you have any choices, wanting to commit suicide because you can't take it anymore. I'm talking about hell. I'm talking about hell on earth, when you are actually experiencing hell on earth. I want you to find a place, and I can't tell you how exactly to do it, okay? Because we're all gonna have to figure out the details somewhat on our own. But just the thought, I want to just give you this thought, and I hope that this sparks an idea in you, which is, during those times, instead of being a victim and wallowing in your own pity and doing the woe is me pity dance about how sad your life is and how you're hopeless and how you can't ever do anything right and nothing's ever gonna go your way and and boo-hoo me, oh it's so sad and everything. Just imagine how good it can feel inside of yourself, and fuck everybody else. Who during times of true hell on earth, literally fuck everybody else. Besides you and the few people around you that you are responsible for, such as your kids and potentially your spouse and close family, literally you gotta only care about what you are responsible for. Just imagine how great it will feel when you truly find the strength within yourself to not just survive and struggle and mope and complain and gripe your way through horrible times, but to truly fucking dominate. I'm talking about getting up at 3 and 4 a.m. during the worst times of your life. Getting up and still going to the gym. Getting up and finding a way to actually genuinely smile. When you can dig within yourself to find your answers. We all have to find our answers first and foremost. We have to build a foundation for ourselves psychologically so that when hell comes your way, you already have your foundation. You don't have to look for a foundation. You don't have to wonder about the foundation. For some people, that foundation is God. For some people, that foundation is the universe. For some people, that foundation is themselves. And I would say, even if you are a religious person or a spiritual person, that to still include yourself in that foundation. I want you to just visualize and imagine yourself being able to go through pain and go through horrible life circumstances and still kill the game. And no one can compare to you. I want you to be that person. I want you to start talking to yourself like this. One of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast like this and why I'm so jazzed and why I'm even using my tone of voice the way that I'm using it and I'm being a little bit louder than I usually am is because I want to get across to you the type of voice that I have inside of me when I'm going through hell. I want you to take this type of thing and adopt it for yourself. I want all of us to no longer listen to that little weak victim within us. We are not little weak victims. We are kings and queens of hell. That means when hell comes, oh, I'm ready. Bring it. When hell comes my way, I'm not running. I'm not scared. I'm not going to go hide in the bed. I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm not going to take a nap. I'm not going to go out drinking to numb the pain. I'm not going to do drugs to numb the pain. I'm not going to go run nowadays, I'm not going to run to a psychologist and ask for antidepressants because I know where that leads me and it's not good. That's not saying that's not true for you. I'm not giving medical advice, but what I'm saying is instead of trying to ease your psychological pain by using crutches of whatever type is your type of crutch. Instead of holding on to a crutch, let that shit go and stand up. Stand up and thrive through it. Don't just survive through it. Thrive through it. Now when adversity comes my way, I pop up and I'm like, let's go. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's see what I can do. Let's see how fast I can knock these obstacles down one at a time. Boom, 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 boom. I'll knock them down. Why? Because I've been building this human. I've been building this human for a very, very long time. And I just want to get across to you how I want your inner voice to sound. And I'm not saying it should sound exactly like me or exactly like my voice. I want you to find your own kingly and queenly voice. I don't want that little weak little, life is so hard. And we are becoming by overcoming. There is no way to truly get around obstacles in your life besides going straight through them. That means when an obstacle comes, you don't try to find a way to avoid it. You have to run straight through that bitch. And guess what? It's going to be hard. It's hard. Life can be very effing hard. Life can make you feel like somebody is taking your head and rubbing it in a pile of dog shit for sometimes years on end. You might not have the job that you want. You might not have the career you want. You might not have the house you want, the car you want, the relationship you want, whatever. You might not have those things that you want, and it can feel like somebody is just shoving your face in dog shit continually. But what I want us all to do... All right, sorry about that, guys. I'm back. My battery ran out. See, I'm getting too hyped up. I'm getting my own self. Actually, there's no such thing as getting too hyped up. All right, so I do not remember where I just left off, but the whole point of what I'm trying to say is that when you can find the strength within yourself and that place within yourself that says, bring it on. Sorry about that. That's my camera powering off again. I need to really move away from the camera when I'm doing these podcasts because I never know when it's going to turn off. When you can find that place within yourself that says, hell, more please. Because you know that you can handle it. When you focus and cut out all the noise and the distractions and the people and the crap that doesn't matter. And when you can actually find yourself and stop being ashamed to be yourself. When you can look around at all the people that tell you whatever you can't do and you no longer respect their opinion. Why? Because you know it's wrong. It's simply wrong. It's simply factually inaccurate. When you can find that person within yourself, the day you find that person is never going to leave you. When you finally become the new person that you know you can become, the day that you turn that corner, I'm telling you, you will never, ever have to look back. And it's a wonderful feeling because you know that you can handle anything that comes your way. When you know that you have the ability to respond. So being responsible is something that a lot of us don't want to be. We think, responsibilities. I hate having to have all these responsibilities. But when you think about it, what is responsibility? It's the ability to respond. Response ability. So think of it like this. If you are unable to respond to something, what does that mean? When a paramedic says she's unresponsive, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's bad, right? It's a bad thing. We don't want you to be unresponsive. If a human being is unresponsive, that means that's a medical emergency and they're potentially on the verge of death. So, if you are alive, you will have responsibilities. The number one responsibility being the fact that you need to take care of yourself first and foremost before anyone. And that even includes before your kids. Why? Because if you are not taken care of, if you are not alive, if you are out of the picture for whatever reason, well, what chances is your child going to have? And I'm getting off on a tangent a little bit here, but this is a great example. In nature, female lionesses feed themselves before they feed their cubs in a starvation scenario. They will eat first, even if it means their cubs going another 2, 3, 4 days, however long it is, in starvation. The female lioness will eat first. And so, is that a bad thing? No, not at all. Interestingly, nature knows that female lioness, it knows her chances and her cubs' chances of survival in this scenario. By feeding herself first, the female lioness is giving her cubs the highest percentage. There's my phone again. I'm learning how to be a podcaster, people. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm turning it off. I got to remember, I got to turn everything off. All the pings, all the distractions before I do these podcasts. So, the female lioness knows that she's giving her cubs the highest percentage chance of survival by feeding herself first, because if she is alive, her cubs stand a chance to survive. Her cubs stand a chance that she can go out and hunt another meal and feed them. Potentially that same day, potentially the next day, potentially very soon. And they have a chance to live. But now, on the other hand, if that female lioness feeds her cubs first and she dies, her cubs, even though they have a temporarily full belly, they will die 100% of the time without her. There is a 100% chance that they will die. A 0% chance of survival for those cubs. So we've forgotten this as humans because we're not up against nature as as raw and real as that, where we would figure that if we had to actually live outdoors 100% of the time and had to fight for survival like that on a daily basis, we would understand this much more viscerally. You wouldn't have to listen to a podcast about it. And I know I went off on a tangent, but it was kind of a necessary tangent. I just want us to remember this as well. We don't want to be like everybody else. We don't want to be like everybody else. So all these people around you that don't understand you, that think you're crazy, that laugh awkwardly when you speak, that say things like, oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're a dreamer. Oh, you're a daydreamer. Oh, you have pie in the sky ideas. Oh, that'll never work. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to be like you anyways, my G. I'm not trying to be like these people out here. I'm not trying to live a life of mediocrity. I'm not trying to be average. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm striving to be. And I'm not afraid to say that, and neither should you be. And when hard times hit them back. When you get bills you can't pay, don't just go, oh, I can't pay this bill, and look at the bill and, oh, I don't have any money. Well, why don't you have any money? Are you working 7 days a week? Probably not. If you are working 7 days a week, are you working 16-hour days, 7 days a week? Probably not. And now, am I saying that that's healthy over the long term? No, absolutely not. Working that type of schedule over long periods of time with no break is definitely not healthy, and I'm definitely not recommending it. But the point is this. Sometimes there's a few weeks or months in between time in our lives when shit starts falling apart and we have to rev it up. Maybe not forever, but sometimes you have to get over a little hill, and that's just how it is. And I'm going to use a really funny term, but tough titties. Oh, you have to work 16-hour days for 7 days a week for 3 months because you're about to be evicted? Tough titties. Oh, you can't spend any money on beer because you don't have enough money to feed your family? Too bad. Oh, you couldn't go out anywhere for a year because you're struggling financially? So what? Too bad, so sad, Susan. Those things are those types of what essentially amount to petty first world people problem things. Maybe, okay, I'm not, for this particular part, I'm not necessarily talking about the more extreme types of stress such as grief. But for something like that, toughen up, buttercup. If you can work, if your body can potentially work 16-hour days, 7 days a week for you to get out of a shit financial situation, if it physically can do that, but you're not doing that, but you're still complaining and crying and whining and all of that stuff about not having money, you need to dig within yourself and find a way to stand up and fight. Some of us never have really stood up and really fought in our lives. And I want you to imagine, what would it look like for you to finally stand up and fight for the life that you want? What would that look like? What kind of person could you be for yourself? You don't think that those skills are going to translate and continue to pay you dividends over your lifetime? Once you can finally find that person will be you for the rest of your life. The next time something comes along, you're going to know how to kick its ass again and again and again. And when you get down, you get back up. And when you get down again, you get back up. And when it goes down again, you get back up. And when you fail, you get back up again. Guess what? I'm going to keep saying this over and over because I do not think that we in America are, well, you know what? I'm going to be real. I think we're all pussies. I really do. I know, maybe not all of us, okay? Not every single person, all right? I know there's people out here that listen to this podcast that are probably mega savages. So if you're already a mega savage, all right, maybe this podcast isn't for you. But I'm talking to people like me, and I'm truly, when I'm doing these podcasts too, I'm thinking of my prior self. I'm thinking of who I used to be, and who of that weak-minded person I'm still overcoming every single day. So when I get all hyped up, I'm not really saying that you all necessarily think this way or do these things or whatever, but I'm honestly just talking to my younger self, which you know, at 20, if you're struggling about or complaining about how you don't have any money and you can't put any money toward your startup because you don't have any money and and then you're only working 20 hours a week, how's that? How's that? If you don't have any money, go get a job. Okay, I already have a job. Go get another one. And I'm not talking about a side hustle that probably isn't going to actually bring you real dollars into your bank account. I'm not talking about going on YouTube and trying to start this and trying to start that. And what happens? I'm talking about go get 2 jobs. Go work at Walmart and Target. I'm talking about go work at Target and Uber. I'm talking about go be a security guard and a janitor. I'm talking about work, baby, work, real work. This is the one area that we are not really connected with anymore. We're very spoiled. We don't want to do manual labor jobs. We don't want to do jobs that we feel are beneath us. We want the bougie job. But guess what? Everybody else wants that bougie job too. So sometimes you have to take shit jobs. And when you do, you are building that person who doesn't care what other people think of you. They're not paying your bills. They're not helping you with your company. They're not saving for your retirement. They're not paying for your car. They're not feeding you. They're not doing jack shit. So who gives a fuck what people think? The day that you can finally become the person who truly does not give a shit what people are thinking, that's the day when you become extremely dangerous in the best of ways. And I don't mean that, you should suddenly just treat everybody horribly and not care about your professional reputation. And that's not what I mean. What I'm talking about is, okay, yes, of course, if you are working a job or you're in a corporation, yes, should you care about the people's perception of you as being someone who is professional and, hardworking and diligent and ethical and all that? Yes, of course you should care about people's perception to that extent. But that's not what I'm talking about. And I think we can know that that's not what I'm talking about already. What I mean is when you are broke, you don't have enough money to save for a house. You don't have enough money to buy a house. You don't have enough money to start your business. You don't have enough money to this, da, 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 da. But you could go get a job at McDonald's 3 days a week to make extra money. But you won't. But you won't do that. because you care about what everybody might say. When you can finally become that person in hell who is clear-minded, not on alcohol, not on drugs, just dead sober and just straight grinding, just straight hustling and loving it and eating it every single day. When the universe can pile a giant dumpster of manure right on top of your head and you say, great, and you get to work and you start digging yourself out with a effing smile on your face. And when you come out with shit covered stains all over you and you still don't give a shit what people are thinking about you, that's the type of person. That's the type of person that can thrive through life. That's the type of person that can turn around and make money just start falling out of the air. That's the type of person that's called a rainmaker. That's the type of person that in an economy can start $1 billion business. Because it's not outside of you, it's within you. You have to become that. And how do you become that? You do it every single day. Every single moment you be that person. You be that person in the crappiest, shittiest of circumstances. You be that person, and I promise you, your outside circumstances will start to match that inner world. It will. And it might astonish you how quickly you can turn your circumstances around. And I know this because I've done it. And I know this because I've gone on roller coasters where I'm doing well, mentally good, mentally stable. I'm up, I'm killing it. I'm on my game. I'm scheduled. I'm, setting my boundaries. I'm not hanging around toxic people. I'm focused. I'm laser focused. I'm going. And I'm not going to lie. There's been times when I've been that and then something happens and then I go down and then I'm down. And then I've been at the bottom where I'm thinking all kinds of crazy shit, where I'm thinking I've had bouts of suicidal ideation. I've had severe depression and clinical depression and all of that stuff. So I know now at this point in life from going through the roller coasters up and down, which has to do with so much stuff that I'm not even going to get into. But the whole point is this. Now that I've ridden this roller coaster for a little while, I'm up and I'm never going back down. Never. I will never go back down. And that is it's at this point, my brain, I've worked on my thought process and how to get through the worst of times so much that now I know how to do it. And it really does come down to self-talk, diet, exercise, and who you have around you. In the worst of times, the worst thing you can do is isolate. Do not isolate. When you're going through the shittiest times in your life, the best possible thing you can do is to get up, put a genuine smile on your face, and go genuinely seek positive connections. Seek your family. Seek your true friends. In the worst of times, do not isolate. Isolation is not healthy for a human being. Isolation can lead to alcoholism and addiction, and it's really not good. And please, find your why. Find your why, and every single day, remind yourself, why are you the king or queen of hell? Why are you getting up at 4 a.m. when everybody else is sleeping? why. Sometimes this why can be very simple. And sometimes your why can be not obvious or not the same as other people's whys. It took me a very, 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 very long time to figure out what my why was. But once I figured out what my why was, and it took me about a year of serious searching and going over it and over it and over it and over it of what's my why, what's my why, what's my why. I couldn't figure out my why for the life of me. But once I figured it out, now it's game on. It's game on. And you know what? My why actually is a why that I realized many athletes have, actually, which is funny because I'm not really an athlete. I've never really been an athlete. I was always in music and music oriented stuff. Even though in high school I did do swim, so I guess that kind of counts, but my why for pushing back for trying to strive for an extraordinary life is because I want to win. I love to win. It's so simple and beautiful. And I know that it sounds, that's not, that why doesn't sound very, philanthropic, however you say that. It doesn't sound like, oh, well, I'm doing this for my family, or I'm doing this because I love helping people, or I'm doing this because I want my legacy on earth to be that I brought world peace. Look, I'm just being honest, and the honest truth is that I'm striving for an extraordinary life because I want to be a winner. I love to win. I love to win. There's nothing more I love than to win. I mean, isn't it? Don't you like to win? Who doesn't like to win? And when you can realize that it's up to you, it's not a lottery. To some extent, little things that, you can't completely control, but you can control what you can control. If you cannot control what you cannot control, that's fine, right? I mean, we can't control what we can't control. These are things such as where you were born, how tall you are, the weather. To some extent, health problems, what family you were born into. Maybe some abusive circumstances that happened in your childhood, things like that. We can't control what we can't control. That is true. But we can control what we can control. Okay? I'm going somewhere with this. You can control what you can control, such as how much you exercise, what are you eating, when do you wake up, when do you go to sleep, what's your daily agenda, are you writing your goals down, are you pursuing ways to increase your value in the marketplace? All of these things we can control. We can control who our friends are. We can control who our spouse is. Yeah, I'm going there. We can control who we marry and who we don't marry. We can control our spending habits. Now, if you cannot control what in actuality you can control, okay? If you can't control what you could control, that's a real tragedy, isn't it? If you can't control something that is controllable, that's a tragedy. That's a sort of disability. If you can control 25% of your life, you're going to do so much better than the vast majority of humans. If you can control 25% of your behaviors, meaning all of that, drinking, drugs, any other kinds of addictions, sexual addictions, television addictions, social media scrolling addictions, addictions to pain, addictions to poverty, addictions to depression. Yes, all of those things. If you can control your brain 30%, if you can control your inner world and your inner voice, your inner dialogue, 30%, you're going to be far ahead than most people. And with that, I'm going to give you guys a break. I'll stop ranting for the night. I want you to be the king or queen of hell, to thrive in hell, to love it, to love it, to love it, because you are becoming that person by going through it. You're building those calluses, you're building those tools, you're learning, you're going through it, and you're growing. And to do that, you have to dig and find your why and visualize that person that you are today. That not that you're becoming, the person that you are. The person that I always wanted to become, I am that person right now. In this moment, I can tell you with 100% certainty, I am that person right now. My circumstances are not perfect right now. And yes, I'm a bit annoyed about that. But I'm heading straight through every obstacle in my way. Straight through. I'm not going around. I'm not avoiding anything. And I really hope that you take some of this podcast and create your inner beast dialogue. Get that inner beast dialogue going in your mind. Wake up, rise and grind, rise and shine. It's your job to rise, shine, and grind. And if someone doesn't see that, then that's their problem. And with that, remember to demonstrate excellence and bravery, and each one teach one. Please go to our website at millionairementormethod.com. We're building an amazing mentor-mentee community for free at the moment. We are building our mentor course, which is really the whole kind of point of this whole community, is that we're building, we're building the method right now, which is an A to Z step-by-step method that was created from a blueprint of what basically every multimillionaire does. There's steps that they all do. That's all basically the same. And it's touching upon every aspect of your life. That is in the works, and it's coming along amazing. For now, you can join our free monthly mastermind meetup groups on the website. You can find it on the website. You could also find us on meetup.com. And our profile name, of course, is Millionaire Mentor Method. You can connect with me through Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm not on Twitter because Elon blocked me when he took over. And that really sucks because I lost like 7 accounts, which really blows. But that's another thing. That's another day. You can connect with me under Krystal Kali, Krystal with a K, Khali. You can also go to themostfamouswomanintheworld.com. If you're a little bit of a weirdo and you like weird, edgy pop music and some blues, you can look me up under The Most Famous Woman in the World, anywhere you get your music. Or my blues band, which is Krystal Kali and the Heavyweight Champions of Blues. I have a single out right now with blues legend Guitar Shorty, who changed my life and put me on a trajectory that led me to here and many other places. I am either under Krystal Kali or The Most Famous Woman in the World or Most Famous Woman in the World across all of those socials. Connect with me, DM me. I actually do respond We also have our Millionaire Mentor Method Instagram. If you can't get a hold of me somewhere, that's a great place because we don't have very many followers right now. And so that means I will see your DMs immediately. On TikTok, it's also Millionaire Mentor Method. Everything is Millionaire Mentor Method on that one, including YouTube. All right. Again, each one, and good night.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice, investment advice, or medical advice. The host is not a financial advisor nor a medical doctor or licensed therapist. Any financial or medical decisions made based on the information in this podcast are made at the listener's own risk. It is recommended that listeners consult with licensed professionals such as CPAs, financial advisors, and licensed physicians before making any investment or medical decisions. The host and creators of this podcast accept no responsibility or liability for any loss or damages incurred as a result of the information provided in this podcast.